All right, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story is a continuation of the last story time I did about, well, this guy dating his own sister. If you guys haven't seen that story, I highly advise you guys going to go check that out because it honestly was the most insane thing ever. Where we last ended off in that story was basically he ended up telling me, and I ended up finding out, technically speaking, that he was literally dating his own sister. And I remember when I first saw this go down and everything, I panicked and I thought it was gross and I ended up leaving and basically not talking to him anymore. Because for a guy who flexes that he dated his own sister is honestly really gross. But at the same time, I remember a couple months went by and I remember I basically stopped interacting with this dude because, well, everyone in the school knew that he was dating his sister and things got really awkward. But then I remember one time he came to school in kind of like a panic. You know that feeling when you look at someone and you know that their day is just not going good? That's basically what I noticed that was happening to this guy who was dating his sister. So I remember I ended up walking up to him and I basically started talking to him like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I know we haven't talked in a bit and stuff. We can put that behind us, but like, are you okay? He looked at me. He ended up saying, bro, like, honestly, man, like, I know you find me weird for dating my sister, but like, things just got really serious between us. And like, you know, I'm kind of like in like a deep hole right now, bro. I ended up looking at him and I told him, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean a deep hole? Is everything all right? And then he ended up saying, bro, I got my sister literally pregnant. At first I looked at him as if he was joking and I literally dabbed him up and said, bro, like, relax, bro. Like, you're trolling me, bro. Like, there's no way. And then he told me, no, bro, like, I'm being serious, bro. Like, I actually like got her pregnant and I don't know what to do because like I have no idea. The first thing I thought in my mind was, bro, did you not use protection? Because obviously anyone that's doing the devil's tango should be using protection. But in his mind, he didn't care and I guess he was careless and ended up just getting her pregnant. Now, one thing I'm going to teach you guys is that in high school, that doesn't tend to happen to people. People are careless and they end up, you know, basically not having grade A pullout game like I did back in high school. So I remember I told him, bro, like, what are you planning on doing? He said, well, I don't know, because our parents don't really want to have the baby because, you know, it's kind of hard to explain how me and her started dating and stuff. But at the same time, I don't know, bro. Like, I might just go back to my hometown and just grow up with the child. First thing I thought was, you're keeping it? Because there is no way that you can have a sibling give birth to your kid. Like, it was the most weirdest thing ever. So I remember I told him, yo, bro, just like go see like a clinic and see what they can do, man. Like, I'll even drive you. Because he couldn't drive at the time. I remember he looks at me with a smile and says, you really do that with me, bro? And I ended up telling him, yeah, man, like, I'll help you out, sure. Boy, did I regret saying that. Because I remember the next day, he ended up basically calling me up in the middle of the night and said, yo, bro, my girl really needs to see a clinic. Something feels off about her. I remember I ended up basically waking up and basically getting ready and stuff. By the way, it wasn't actually that late. It was only like, I want to say 9:30, almost like 10. And basically, I got up, I ended up getting in my car and everything. And I remember my mom asked me, where are you going, Bubba? And I ended up telling her, I'm going to the hospital. I ended up driving my car over to his place. And basically, when I got there, I ended up parking my car in front of his house. When I did, I remember seeing literally him and his sister come out. And his sister did not look pregnant at all. I remember when they both got in my car, his sister instantly says, wasn't this the guy that literally like made fun of our relationship? And then her brother says, or her boyfriend or whichever said, oh no, like he's here to help. Like he's really chill with it. Don't worry about it, sweetie. I just have no idea how much I was cringing out when I heard like literally her brother called his own sister sweetie as if they were an old married couple. Like what? So I remember I basically started driving them to the hospital. Honestly, on the way there, I kept looking at his sister thinking there is no way this girl's pregnant. She doesn't look pregnant because most chicks that are pregnant, they usually have like a big stomach and stuff, right? Like they look fat. But then I remember as I was driving to the hospital, I mentioned, hey, like, yo, is your sister like actually pregnant? Are you guys like just trolling me, bro? Because like, I'm gonna be honest, you don't look pregnant. His sister took huge offense to that, like huge offense, and said, are you saying I'm not pregnant with our baby? Are you serious? Like, who do you think you are? At that moment, I realized that her hormones were going through the roof and she was definitely pregnant. But at the same time, I still had my disbelief. So anyways, I kept driving them to the hospital. I remember when we got there, I parked my car and basically they ended up getting out and I ended up going inside the hospital with them. I remember when we went in there, they ended up having to show their like IDs to basically go inside the hospital to get like, you know, everything situated on the computer. And when the nurse saw that these two were brother and sister and they were literally doing the devil's tango and had to explain how he got his sister pregnant, the nurse looked at me as if I was crazy to even be helping them out. I remember basically like the nurse the entire time was basically trying to ask, so like, where are your parents? I really want to understand the whole situation in general. Should I contact them? I remember remember when he said that, the brother in the relationship ended up standing up, and my buddy ended up yelling at the nurse saying, "Why would you want to call our parents? Who do you think you are? I'm the patient. You're the nurse. We're not allowed to contact my parents unless I say so." Like, he got so upset, and everyone kept looking, and honestly, at this point, I think everyone knew that these two people were insane. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember basically when we were sitting down in the waiting room, it was a funny comment that a guy made that was beside me, and he knew what was going on. He literally said, "So, like, I'm guessing they're from Alabama." And it was the funniest thing because I ended up laughing because there was a common joke for, like, you know, people from Alabama doing it with their own cousins. But then in my mind, you know, it's weird thinking he literally got his own sister pregnant. So I remember going on with the story, I kind of just started, like, basically sitting there and waiting. And the nurse eventually came out and said, can I get the couple that are siblings? I remember everyone in the waiting room started looking around thinking, this is insane. Who is siblings and dating? And basically they stood up and they basically started going to the nurse. I ended up going with them, and when I did, I remember seeing them drag her to a room where you basically scan for the baby and, like, get, like, photos and, like, basically being able to see the baby. I remember when she laid down on that chair and they put this, like, weird gelatin on her stomach, I was like, bro, there's no way. I think this is gonna be so fake. There's no way. There has to be, like, air in her stomach or something. And when they started scanning and looking for the baby, they saw a legit child in her stomach that was growing. Like, it was the most weirdest thing ever. And I started thinking, oh my goodness, that is disgusting. And I don't know why, but my buddy at the moment when that was happening, as they were checking on the baby and, like, you know, we were basically seeing the baby in a monitor, my friend looked at me and said, "Bubba, since you helped out, when she has to give birth, I want you to be the godfather." Huh? What? No, is what I wanted to say. But I ended up saying, "Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I got your back." When in reality, I wish I didn't. And it was so awkward because on the way driving them back home, I remember they just kept looking at me thinking, oh, like, now he knows and stuff. And it just got super awkward. The baby was not scheduled for another, like, 6 months to be born. So it was kind of weird. But I can tell you one thing. Every day when he came to school, that guy was attached to me like there was no tomorrow. Since I was the only guy that really understood his situation, or sorry, pretended to understand his situation to the point where he started to really appreciate me. I don't know. It felt nice to have a friend, but knowing that my friend was dating his own sister and got it pregnant is just ultimately disgusting. But the real story is when she gave birth, and that was when things really got bad. But I guess we'll save that for a story for another time. Anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.